Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm doing something a bit different. Of course you'll know from a previous video the Bella box is no longer, so I have two video slots to fill up to make up for those. So I'm after any ideas, so if there's any videos you'd like to see, just let me know in the comments. Some ideas would be great because my thinking cap is just not coming up with anything right this second. So for today's video I thought I'd just do this as a little one-off. So I'm just going to do what I would call my work day makeup. So this is what I do for my full-time job. So I have one long day where I don't have the time to do a full-on look, so I just basically do something quick and easy. So I thought I'd do my makeup for those days that I have more time. So this is what I would do, not every day, but on the days I have a bit more time. I hope that makes sense. First I'm just going to clip my hair out of the way. Ugh, I'm dying to get a haircut. I have one this week. I cannot wait. Okay, that will do. So first up, like I say, on these days that I have a bit of time, I always like to do a primer. Okay, I haven't tried a lot of primers. They're up and coming kind of things. I have them in my stash, but I haven't got around to them. But the one I'm using at the moment is the Hourglass, I think they just call this Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer, and it comes in this bottle. Oops. It's a little pump bottle. This is quite expensive. I was actually influenced by someone else who has the same combination skin that I do, and we suit a lot of the same things, and she recommended this and I was like, oh okay, I'll give it a go. Brought a trial size, really liked it, so I'm still trying to get through this bottle before I open something else. So you do not need much of this. You need a tiny bit, and all I do is I put it in my T-zone, okay, with prime as well, with my particular skin. I don't need it anywhere else. I prefer to let the natural oils come through, but I do like the primer excuse me, on my T-zone, just to keep some of the oiliness at bay, if that makes sense. Okay, so I just put a little bit up here. My nose is always the worst. I've got a croaky throat, I'm very sorry. So I put not more on it, but it is always the worst place. And now I can't get any out. Come on, what are you doing? There we go. So usually I put the primer on first because all primers need to sit. That is the most important thing to remember too. So they need to soak into your skin. Okay, I'm going to do an up and coming video about primers. So up and coming. I'm going to be doing one that doesn't even make sense. I'm going to be doing a one on primers, so I'm not going to go too in depth, but you can see how it kind of dulls the shine already. I just left on my fingers after there, I just put down the sides. Okay, and that's all I do for that, and that just, I let it sit, which is a good opportunity to do my under eye corrector. I cannot go without an under eye corrector anymore. It's just, concealers just do not cut it. The shadows come through, it's just annoying. So I'm still using my all-time fave, my Tarte one. What do they call this? Color Clay CC corrector. Yeah. So it's, where are we? This way. There we are. In what shape is this? Light medium. Okay, so I just use my ring finger, put a little bit on, and then I start at my inner corner okay, because I have some darkness in there, and just gently pat it. Then I do the same, put a little bit more, I do not need a lot, and I put this in my darkest area, which is in close to here. And then lastly, I have a little vein that annoys me that runs along just under here, so I put some in there as well, just to cancel out that bluish greenish vein. And straight away you can see a difference. If I look a little closer, you can tell it does a really good job. Then I need to prime my eyes ready for eyeshadow, so I don't have a primer on the go at the moment. I just haven't found, well, I've tried 3 or 4 now, I guess, but my beloved one of course is no longer, so I've just gone back to the standard using concealer and setting powder. It works just as fine, but it's just some of the eyeshadow primers have a bit more grip, you know, when you need it. That's the only downside. The concealer will conceal, as it says. So I'm still using my beloved e.l.f. Camo Concealer. Still love this stuff. So when I do this, I just put some on each. I do not need a lot of this stuff on each one. And then I just use my ring finger again to spread it out. Now I'm going to powder that or set that. Okay, so you can see it's just tidied it up, make it more like a blank canvas. Now I do this with setting powder. I should reiterate that it is really good to do this step if you don't use an eyeshadow primer, is to use concealer and then setting powder, because it will make your eyeshadow last longer and it will stop it from creasing. Okay, so I'm still using my Laura Mercier setting powder, so I just put a little bit, which I already have, in the lid, and then I'm just going to take, I think this is a brush from Revlon, and put some on, take off the excess, and then I'm just going to pop it on top. And this of course sets the concealer to stop it from creasing, but it also gives it that little bit of grip to stick to your eyeshadow as well. Now it's foundation time, so I'm still loving my what are they called? Revlon Colour Stay. I had a moment blank. Mine just went blank there. Revlon, Colour Stay foundation. The new formula. Well, it's not new anymore, but yeah. For what do they call this? For combination oily skin. I'm in the shade Sand Beige 180. And yeah, still loving this. Always on the days. Pretty much on some of my shorter days, I will quite often use a second, whether it be a BB cream or foundation, and on the day that I really want it to last, my full-on busy day, I'll always use this. So all I do is squirt some on my hand. Now this is just to warm up the foundation before it goes on your skin. So I'm just going to blob like that. Then I just spread it out. And then I'm going to take my damp beauty blender and pick some up off my hand. And off we go. So you can see in the time it took me to do my corrector and my concealer and setting powder on my eyelids was enough time for my primer to settle. This stuff is so good. It lasts. That's honestly why I use it for my full-on 9, sometimes 10 hour day. Once a week. I need it to last because I don't have time to touch up or worry about it. I get one little quick break and then yeah, straight back into it. So I need something reliable, which is this, and it's gonna last. That is looking good. As you can see, it's just love that stuff. Okay, then I'll go to concealer. So back to the same one I used for under the eyes. And same thing here. This always, there's the only downside about this, it has a huge brush and it always gets too much on it, so you'll find I'm always going like this to get some off. Okay, so I always put a little bit in here in the right in that corner and then a little bit just underneath. Okay, and that's just because I don't need a lot because I've already used a corrector, so this is really just for a bit more coverage and to brighten up the eye. And then I put a little bit on the corner, and that's just to give it a bit of a lift. And that is it. Then sometimes I use sponge, but just lately I found myself using my finger. Just quicker, I guess. It saves me having to wash another sponge. So I start in the middle or the inner corner and then just spread it out. Then I will take my under eye setter, which is my same one I've used for a long time now. I haven't really found an under eye powder that I'm 100% happy with. So this is my Pat McGrath, what are they called? It's got a long title. Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Blurring Under Eye Powder in the shade Light. Ugh. So it looks really white, but it goes on translucent. So yeah. So I just take a brush. This is my, what's this one? This is one from Sephora. I think it's actually a concealer brush, but it does this job perfectly. So I just put some on it, tap off the excess, then I'm just going to, it's kind of like a stamping motion, okay? So looking up, I'm just stamping where I put that concealer. You would do the same thing with a sponge if you prefer to do it that way. I just find a sponge can quite often put too much on. You can kind of be a bit more heavy-handed. Those steps are everything I've done on my face so far. I do regardless if I have a long or short day. That's just something I just do. This next step on my long day, don't even bother. So I like to contour, okay? So this one is from Mecca Max, and I'm not a big contour person, you know, I haven't done it for years and years and years. So I just go for a light shade. This has been really, really good because it blends to barely there, you know, so it's not full on noticeable, because that's the thing about contouring is you can stuff it all up pretty quickly. Okay, because this is a cream one, I always put it on before I powder my face. Okay, so what I do is I run it just underneath my cheekbone, but from my ear. Okay, so I just go here and here. Hopefully I've got it reasonably even. Like so. And then I also put some up along here. Okay, so this is not something you have to do, this is just something I like to do. A lot of people contour their nose, they put chins around their lips. It's just, you can put it anywhere and everywhere, but I don't go to that extreme just because I'm not 100% comfortable with it. But this one I seem to be really liking, yeah, so that was the Mecca Max one. And then I just take a dense brush, okay, this is actually a Revlon, I think foundation brush, yeah, but I found this suits my purposes. And I just go up, okay, so when I blend it, I'm pushing in and up. Okay, contouring just adds a bit more shape to your face. Definition, that's what I was looking for. It's not, yeah, not a full-on necessary step, but you can tell the difference, you know, straight away. This is always a bit more awkward up here, so I'm trying to push it into the hairline, okay? If this was a powder contour, of course I wouldn't do it at this stage. I would do it after I powdered, okay? But because this is a cream, you always want to do it before you powder. And that's it. But you see, yeah, it's not a huge difference. You know it's there, but it's not full on noticeable. Right, then I will powder the rest of my face, okay? So this helps set everything else, okay? So I still take my favourite Laura Mercier powder. This time I actually tip up the lid fully into it, tap it so that some comes out. Don't need a lot, although not much came out. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, and then I take the Laura Mercier Powder Puff, okay, and pretty much put it in so I get some on. Then I squish it into my hand, okay. Now that stops your powder from going everywhere. Now I didn't know that. For a long time I never used a powder puff because I was like, it's going to go everywhere. Force it into the powder puff in your hand and then put it on your forehead. Well, where you need to powder, sorry. I always start up the top. And then I'll go back into if there's any left on my hand. So much easier. I don't know why I didn't click to it or why it took me so long. I just started to see other influencers doing it this way and I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. So again, I'm just powdering my T-zone, okay, in this particular way, I should say. Now, of course, there is other ways to do this. You could do it with a brush. I just choose to do it this way, on my T-zone in particular, because it's the worst place for me, is where my shine comes through. The rest of my face I'm not too worried about. Then whatever is left in the lid, I will take a brush. It's usually not much, might be a little, just enough to do what I'm about to do. So I'm just going to take, this is a Real Techniques powder brush, and pop it in the lid, swirl it around so it collects up anything that's left, then tap off the excess. And this, I'm just doing the outsides of my face, so anywhere I didn't do with the powder puff, pretty much. This powder is just, you know, just when it all comes together, it's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing what we can do with makeup. Then I just gently tap anything that's left, or also to get kind of rid of some of that powdery look over the rest of my face. And then we're done with the powder. Brows are next. I have not found another brow pencil. Again, I need to get out of my comfort zone and try, but however, I'm still stuck on my Benefit Precisely My Brow pencil. Okay, this is it here. There we are. Which has the spoolie on one end, of course, and the pencil on the other. This is in the shade, now I used to be, before I grew out my hair, I used to be, I think it was shade 5 in the brown, okay? I've since found that just was not looking good with all this grey hair, so I actually changed to cool grey. When I first got it, I was like, I don't know if that's gonna work, but it is actually perfect for me. So just put a little bit out, and then I started my, hopefully I can do this, I'll try and attempt to do one. I start at the inner, so I'm just gently brushing strokes on, and then I kind of join it all together. So little strokes are better than just a full on, you know, just start small and then you can build on it. Then I will use the spoolie, and this just combs it all into place, and you can kind of see where you need to add a bit more, or whether you even need to add more. That is the brows for now, and then I think about eyeshadow looks. So I will sometimes think about what I'm going to wear so that I can, you know, match it to my outfit. Or sometimes I just have an idea in my head and I'm like, right, yep, I'll just go with it. I will always start with my transition shade. I'm going to use a Real Techniques brush. I think today, no, I'll use this one. So I'll use my Mega Max for my transition shade. So again, I just put some on the brush, tap off the excess. Then I'm going to start right in here, so in that crease. Then I'm going to go backwards and forwards. Okay, it's important to put it here first because 90% of your product is on it right now. Okay, so if you go full on somewhere else, it's where it's going to look the darkest. So if you start right in that pocket, the colour's going to stay, or a good percentage of it will stay in that pocket, and you can blend it. And then when there's less on the brush, I start to take it up. Okay, so right to underneath my eyebrow. And just keep blending, blending, blending. I mean, eyeshadow takes time, you know. Well, in saying that, on my shorter days, on my full-on day where I don't have the time, I can make it shorter. I can make it work. Okay, so I just keep going over and over and over it until I think I'm happy with it. So also got to be aware when you're picking a transition shade that you don't use something too light. You know what I mean? Light colours are not for your transition shade, okay? Transition shade should be something medium kind of level in the colour wise, I should be saying. Okay, your lighter shades are always for up around your brow or the inner corner to help highlight that. So in other words, light but not too light. So that's my transition shade done. Then I decide on a what we call an outer third colour. Okay, so this is where you can go a bit darker. So I'm going to use the Catrice Dusty Matte palette, and I'm going to go with, I think, now these colours are quite intense. The pigment is very, very rich in this. So I think I'll go for my beloved one in here. Wait, that one there. So it's a darker brown, if my camera will focus. There we go. They don't actually have shade names, they just have numbers, yeah. So it's like they have like a light, well, I say you would say the lightest, then a light, then the next level down, and then the full on dark. So it's always the shade that is not quite the full on dark, because that's one I use for lining pretty much, okay? So I'm taking my, I think this is a Morphe brush. So this is the smaller blending brush because I have that fold to worry about. And same thing, take some on my brush, tap off the excess. Now on this one I'm sticking to this corner, so the outer third, okay? So I'm just brushing it this way. Now, the reason I'm not taking it out here is because on me it looks ridiculous. So I try and keep it right into that crease, and then I'll blend it out a bit if I can, or if I need to, sorry. Now that's not something all eye shapes need to do, it's just because of my eye shape that I do this. Quite often a lot of other people will get away with doing it out here, you know, out there and blending it, but just not me. So I just put a little bit more on it just to deepen it up. Then, like I said, I will blend it a bit into the transitions. I've just gone back to that same brush to join it together so that it looks blended. There's no obvious line to say, oh, you've finished your eyeshadow there. I think blending is key. Then I start to think about what I would like in the inner third. Okay, now this is always where you want to put your shimmer shades. You want to put something with a bit of sparkle, you know. What will we do? Yeah, there's probably only one shade I use in the Sephora Pocket Palette, and I don't think it will suit this one. I think we need like a dark goldy kind of colour to go with the brown, so I think we'll go to the Bella Pierre palette for this one, and I will use the darker one. Okay, so this dark and a light in this particular palette, and all I do, honestly, ring finger, put some on it. There's a wee bit of fallout with this one, so I have to be quite careful. So I'll quite often put some on my finger and kind of blow off the excess if I can see any on it, which there is a wee bit. Then this one, I would just pat it on, or yeah, if I'm in a hurry, just kind of drag it on. This one I have to pat on to stop the fallout. So I start on the middle of the eyelid and then just work my way in. I'm kind of doing it back to front. Usually start in the inner, right in there. Don't know why I started in the middle of that particular one. However, so you can see there's still heaps on my finger. I haven't actually taken a lot off. So I'm not going to put any more on my finger. I'm going to try and just use what's here. I must say, in this particular palette, the shimmers are amazing. Look at that. That's looking really, really nice. So if I had a bit more time, well, usually I do, I would line with a darker colour, but this video is going to be super long if I do that. So I'm actually just going to take a pencil, this is from Catrice as well, waterproof eyeliner, and I'm just going to what we call tight line. Okay, this is just a quicker way, so it's getting up in underneath, just gives the eye a bit more definition. So there's a couple of ways you can do it. Some people hold their eyelid up. I'm actually pretty good at just doing it without poking myself in the eye. It doesn't look the nicest to do, but we'll see how we go. You do have to be careful what you tight line with, okay? This is a waterproof one, okay? You do want something waterproof to put up under there, because it's the same as putting eyeliner in here. You want, you know, don't want it to leak into your lower eye region. My words are just not working today. Then I will do mascara. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to curl my eyelashes quickly. I'll do this off camera because it's kind of weird to watch, so I'll do that off camera, and then I will do my mascara. Mascara, I finally got around to trying the Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect. Everyone goes and raves about this one. It's most popular one in the range. This particular colour, the minty colour. I've tried one other, wasn't too fussed on that. Now, you would have noticed that I didn't do my lower lash line. Usually I do. Well, not every time. Sometimes if I like the way it's looking, I don't think it needs anything. I mean, if I did do it today, I would have just used the colour I used in the transition shade and just ran that along the bottom. Actually today I just genuinely forgot. I was worrying about this being a super long video and I was like, oh, I can get away with it not doing it today. Then I'll go to bronzer, so I'm still using my favourite one, which is the Tarte Park Avenue Princess bronzer in here, and it's in the shade Park Avenue Princess, I'm pretty sure is what it's called, yeah. Again, I just take a Real Techniques brush, put some on. Now this you don't need to tap off the excess, unless you see a lot of kick up or anything, then you would need to. And I always start with my cheeks first, so I'm going over top, but sort of covers a bit more of the cheeks than the contouring does. And then the same on the forehead. So again, keeping it close to my top of my hairline. Not too far down, because when you put it too far down on my particular face shape, it just looks weird. So I try and keep it up close to my hairline. Then I take my sponge, and this is just to cement it all in, and I just go around. Oh, I would do apologise if my heat pump noise is coming through the microphone, which it probably is. It's a bit cooler today. So this just tidies up any rough patches, I guess you say, helps it all blend together nicely. Love that stuff. Okay, then we move to blush. Now blush is always hard for me. I'll show you why. Because I have 3 blushes. Well, actually, this is a palette, so there's 3 in that one. So I have 5 blushes going at the moment. So this was a palette that's no longer around, but there's 3 blushes in there. I do not use the highlighter. It is terrible. The blushes are not the greatest either. Do not go there. Then we have the Bronzer Bare Minerals blush, and then I have the Milani Baked powder blush. This one here as well. So choosing a colour for blush is always tricky, because you don't want something that's not going to blend in well with the rest of your makeup, okay? So I wouldn't put a super dark blush on because this look doesn't need it. Okay, I wouldn't put a super glittery, shimmery blush on because this look doesn't need it. I already have it on my eyes. If anything, a little wouldn't hurt, and I could get away with not wearing a highlighter, that kind of thing. So when I'm thinking about blush, I'm thinking about a lot of things, yeah. Today, I think I'm just going to go with the Milani one. The bronzer is a bit of a darker colour. I don't think it would quite go with this. The Revolution, as I said, the blushes are not great in this. I only have really used the darker colour in that one here, and it would be too dark again for this look. So I'm going to go for the more subtle one. This is in the shade Berry Amour. Oh, excuse me. And I'm just going to take, this is another Real Techniques set. This has a bit of kick up, so I just put some on the brush. Then I do actually tap off the excess. This is highly pigmented as well, so you do not need a lot on it. And then smile, and just do the apples first, and then I just work my way out this way. That is looking good. Then same thing, I take the sponge and just go around the edges just to blend it all in and cement it all in pretty much. So there's no obvious you know, change between the two, you might say. Now highlighter. I'm going to use the W7 Glow Commotion Shimmer Highlighter eyeshadow. This one here. So far, this has been really good. It's picking a highlighter is another thing that can be a bit tricky. You have to be a bit careful. Just take a highlighter brush. This is a powder, of course. I have another one in a cream version, and I think I have another powder, the chocolate elixir one that I'm trying to get through. But anyway, so small highlighter brush. This doesn't have any kick up, so it's really quite good. Still tap off the excess, and then just a little C shape around here. So this is highlight is only something I do if I have time. Okay. No, I just keep it in a small C shape. You'll see a lot of influencers bring it all the way around. That just doesn't suit my face shape. So I stick to a wee circle around the edges. Again, sponge to help cement it down in there. And then we're thinking about lips. I'm very, very lazy when it comes to lips. I quite often go for something quick and easy, and it's just, as I said, I can be quite lazy. But I have been forcing myself lately to do a bit of lining and some look to you know, just get in the habit of using the stuff that I actually have. What are we going to do today? Don't think we need a liner today. I tell you what, I'm just going to stick with my beloved Maybelline lifter glosses because they are the bomb. They are the best. I actually thought about it, and now I'm tossing up between the two. So I've got my all-time favourite, the Maybelline lifter gloss in Moon 003. This is my most used, loved one. But I also love this Too Faced, what do they call this? Hardcore lipstick in Sweet Tea. I really love that too. So, tell you what, let's just try both. See how we go. So I'm just going to wipe off all the foundation and stuff that got on my lips. Let's try the hardcore lipstick first. See how this looks. This sometimes can be a bit dark, which I think it's going to be, yeah, no. Too dark for this look. Let's just wipe that one off. Let's go for the Maybelline Lifter Gloss in Moon. Oh my gosh, the poor thing is running out. I don't think I'm going to get many more uses out of this poor thing. I need to go and get a new one. Yep. Then I will finish off with a brow gel. First, I'm actually going to put a little bit of the lighter shade in the Belpier box down the bottom here in my inner corner. So I realised I forgot to do that too. So right in here. Then the brow gel. So I'm still using my Mika Max one. This, I just put my brows up so I can reach them pretty much, and then I use the end of the brush to gently brush them across this way. I'm quite happy with this look. Yeah, actually I'm very happy with this look. My gosh, my words today. It is ridiculous. Like I said, let me know if you think of something for videos. I need a couple of ideas. I just thought of one while I was doing this, but if you guys think of something, let me know in the comments. I hope you found this helpful. It's sometimes good to know just how people do things, their ways of doing things, so that's why I thought this might be a good video for that. Anyway, that is it for today. So if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you in my next one. Bye!